Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the exit interviews here on Dynamic Character Productions. We are joined by Jonathan. So sad to see you this early. I think I say this to like everyone, but you were one of the people when we interviewed. I was like, I really want to see what this guy can do in a game. And well, Lydia has spoken, not really the tribe. But we will get into that. And Lily is here asking all the questions. And as always, joined by my co-host, Alex.
Well, yeah, let's get to it, Lily. Say the magic words and we'll get started.
Yeah, let's crack into it. So as McKenna mentioned, a lot of us were excited to see you kind of get involved in the Zoom game that is Trinity Falls. What were you thinking going into the game? Was there anything you were apprehensive about or maybe more excited about?
There was a lot of excitement. I was all the above, but I actually didn't really go in with like a huge strategy. What my goal was I wanted to befriend every single person that I've encountered. So for example, Lo and Luke, just like hometown, and Spouse's hometown. And then there was Emily, and she loved plants. And I wanted to like learn how to grow plants. So I was trying to find relationships with everyone. And so I was hoping when I made it to the merge, I had options. So that was my goal, was just try to find relations with people and try to like wedge my fun, funky personality in the middle. So like, I didn't realize everyone was talking strategy, but I was just like, I want to be your friend. But at the same time, on the contrary, I was limited to that just because, when we started the season, it went straight to challenge and elimination. So like that plan kind of went out of the window. So I had a wing half of it, and same circumstance, like I wanted more time to get to know Vee and Lydia and Lex. And then when that happened, obviously I ain't going to go for my own, former tribe mates. So yeah.
No, yeah, it's very interesting, that approach, because like sometimes people will take that and sort of like as a viewer and they'll be like, oh, why aren't you gaming? Like everyone goes in with a game bot mentality. But I think there's almost a benefit to, if you're on a season filled with gamers, being someone who's more of a social style player. And it's like, I'm just trying to get to know you. I'm trying to solidify a bond. Like, because when you're a gamer, you only have so much you can trust. But if you can trust that this person likes you, like that's a lot more valuable than saying, am I going to put my strategic game in this person just because they also are strategic?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I learned so much of that. Like I didn't realize how much I played offline versus online. And offline meaning was me having those conversations like in the waiting rooms while the other tribe was doing their things. Like I was there, but then when it came to actually coming down to business, like I think I was trying to decipher when I was ready to start calling names. I didn't want to call names in the earlier in the game because I know that I thought, me mentioning that I was already in the military, that was probably like not the smartest thing to do, because I already thought that was going to be a target. So I was trying to be quiet and mellow down a bit, but I didn't think about the medals behind me. Like
I was gonna say,
yeah, let's talk about those medals.
Yeah, you're very quiet.
Wanting to love Lydia. She's like, I don't know about him.
Okay, you were quiet. Those medals were not.
We told Jonathan just a little bit ago about his interview, and he had the same setup the way he had it in the episodes, and we were like, ooh, he's got to either take those down or pick a different camera angle, because we knew it would wind up probably working against you, just kind of like Andrew's gym worked against him. So
I'm going to put a sign over and put donut eating contest or hot dog.
Oh yeah, perfect.
There you go. and we don't do food challenges, so that would be perfect.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. I do think your the way you went about the game is probably what got you through the first round, in my opinion, because had you been super strategy right off the bat with your first tribe of 5, and then they see the medals in the background, I think they would have gotten nervous like they were for Mike. A big thing with this cast that we don't see a lot is that they're not really worried about winning the tribe challenges. They're more worried about, is this person gonna beat me in the long run? Are they more strategic? Mm-hmm. Did you pick up on that when the vote kind of turned on Mike, or were you surprised that they wanted to vote for Mike versus Emily since she struggled so much in that first challenge?
You know what? I did not want to go for Emily. I thought that that was just a too mainstream of a vote. I wanted to do something different, but actually I was intimidated by Luke instantly the moment when it was like, oh, let this be us. I remember instinctively just being like, oh no, this guy's gonna drive the game a little bit. He has initiative. I started doing like little remarks. If anything, I thought, you know, the fact that I was gonna be in his alliance, I was thinking, okay, maybe that's a shield, but I was semi-wary of the situation. So I noticed like he had that leadership role initially. Lo just had that gravitational attraction, that social attraction. Emily, you know, she was really fun, but I tried to wedge through her feeling down, like from that challenge. So like, I didn't have the intentions of wanting to go for her right away. I wanted someone that wasn't crippled that early. So Mike just was it.
So would Lo, you think Lo would be your number one if you were like a little like skeptical of Luke?
I thought so, yes. And then I initially once I realized Lex was gonna go with my vote on, you know, I think that's when actually ironically that episode that, you know, that I got eliminated, I think it started slowly clicking that I needed to play the game. So I felt like I started to express more of a voice and name drop V, because I was like, okay, now I have to play. I think I started to understand what you have to do, and if there's anything I would totally change for the next game. I would absolutely change my approach a bit. You do have to lie. And I had to realize, you know, like I wanted to play an honest game, but at the same time, this is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to, you know, that's the part of the game. In this game, you have to lie, and you know, they're not like morally like not like terrible lies. It's just lying because you're playing competitively in a game where it's supposed to be a fun environment. So like, I don't think if I ever have to play again, like that guilt's not going to be on my shoulders.
Yeah,
I think that's like a really good thing to learn from a first time playing, because it is hard to separate it. I think even for people that are like seasoned org players have a hard time making that separation of, okay, me outside the game, I wouldn't tell a lie. I'm always straightforward. I tell people how it is, you know, and that's what people respect about you. And it's like, okay, that's how I'm going to be in the game, because if I don't do that, I'm not going to be respected. People will call me whatever. Like, you have all these fears of what people will perceive you as. Whereas ultimately, like you said, you have to like be willing to understand that like this is a game, we're having fun, I'm trying to win. This is a competition. This competition does allow you to not give everything that's truthful.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle with it myself. I'm a crier, so but it's interesting that you mentioned, you know, getting bad vibes about Luke, because V, we see in the episode, really had the same kind of feeling that he, you know, has a hold on this game and is really trying to make sure things go his way. And I loved that moment that we saw with you and V, where you kind of both just like speak the truth. You both like say, I wouldn't go for you if I didn't know. You know, had V in that moment kind of said, you know, Luke is giving me weird vibes, and if you are willing to vote with me and us not go for each other, what do you think about going for Luke? Was it too far gone to kind of switch the vote on him?
No, 100%. And you know what? I think also on that round, I didn't put enough drive. Like the moment someone said they were dropping my name, I should have taken more initiative to find out who it was. And I thought about it, but then I was like, I didn't know how I was going to finesse expressing that without them wanting me to target me more and being like, who said my name? You know what I mean? And so like at the same time, like V, like when she joined our tribe, I noticed that she had this attractive pull on her too. And I noticed that a lot of people flocked to her attention. Like when we were in a room, I felt like she just had this Like, she's gorgeous. She has like this bubbly personality. She calls everybody bestie and babe, and she's like, she just radiates this amazing energy. And like, I would love to be her friend any day. But like, it seemed like, went from Luke from this tribe, and then I see Vee, and everyone was just, engaging with her. And then I'm like, I don't know.
Keep the devil you know and not the devil you don't is kind of
yes. And I thought about and Luke's strategy to go for Lex in the beginning, it made 100%, like, it made sense. But I thought with two people, I wanted to cripple that original tribe even more a little bit. So I don't think I gave myself time to like concentrate that my name was out. I think I was so dead set focused. There's three of us, like, there's nothing that can happen, so I think that like, it definitely, I started to feel a little safe, and you should never feel safe in Survivor. So I got Lydia, which is way better than Wentworth.
There you go.
So yeah, I learned so much about I've learned so much, and watching the show so far, I'm like, oh, I should start doing this more. Oh, like, I totally didn't do that. Oh my gosh, like, I'm such a like nitwit for not like picking up this social cue. And
you could now pull a Lex when someone is like, have you been throwing out my name? Me?
Who said that?
I really wanted to be like, my initial reaction was like, aren't you in the same alliance with Lydia? But then I was afraid that I didn't know how to like lie very well, that I was just gonna choke on my own words and was gonna like make something not make sense. So I wanted to like throw something to make them question their friendship for a second, but I was like, so I felt like I was already walking on thin ice with them too anyway, so I didn't want to fall. But I felt
yeah, it's hard in these fast-paced games, especially when you don't have time to make a plan to figure out, how do I try and like dissect them away from each other and get them to go with me. And speaking of Lo, I know you mentioned you felt really close with her, wanted to continue to work with her. What were you thinking going into this vote with her? Because we see in a confessional in the episode that she is not really keen on voting out either Vee or Lydia because, she's very woman strong. Do you think that if she had wanted to vote Lex, that might have been doable, or there just wasn't a way to get both, I guess, to get both parties what they wanted?
That's a good question. It was prevalent that she had a stronger alliance with Luke, and then I was just kind of I was a good support, or maybe like a decent shield for like a temporary reason. But at that time, I thought I was really strong with both of them, even though like I made remarks, had my own mental awareness about Luke. But I think that it was like there were so many good options between us, all three of us, with them three, knowing our circumstance, that like with that short amount of time, like, why not take them all? Can you just take so I think that there were so many different directions you can go within a short amount of time in a mini, so all of them made sense at the end of the day. So I think that I don't know who started to decide Lydia. I think Lex probably was, but to like co-sign on Lydia, like, yeah,
like, and it's so easy to say outside, like us looking from behind the screen, because we're not in the moment. In the moment, it's so chaotic. You don't have that time to like really like take that step back to truly assess the situation. But it's like there's almost an opportunity there where once you, Lo, and Luke all hear Lex pitch like, hey, we should vote Lydia. If we think Vee has this idol, if she does have it, she's obviously going to play it for herself. Let's vote out Lydia. You almost could use that as an opportunity to be like, okay, let them vote Lydia. If they play an idol, they're going to play on one of themselves. Us three, we just do what we said at the beginning, vote Lex, like hands clean. And then you guys march forward. But it's like, again, with only 2 rooms, no time to think. Like, I don't blame any of you guys not having that moment to like take that step up and be like, oh, we should change back. We should do Lex here.
Right. And especially when Luke was saying, I'll go to rocks for you, I was taking that with a grain of salt. I heard it and I obviously hindsight 2020 watching, I'm like, oh fuck yeah, let's. I mean, oh yeah,
You're good. Don't worry.
That's my first S bomb. So like hindsight 2020, heck yeah, like I would totally go to like let's do it. But like in that moment, that sounded too sweet of a
Don't
deal.
go to rocks.
Yeah,
Just don't go
was
to
like
rocks.
I was just like I took that with a grain of salt, and I don't know if it was ignorance, but I just didn't want that route. And I didn't want to risk losing him,
Right.
Or low.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah.
And we see it right before this challenge, where you eventually go to tribal, that you mentioned you were kind of struggling connecting with your fellow castaways on this specific tribe that you just swapped with. Which is hard for us to believe because we felt in your interview, we were all like instantly like, okay, like he's super like intimidating, but I want to play with him even if I was in the game.
Yeah, I think it was just, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're starting to answer this.
I think it's just how they meshed, and like they were, like I said, it went through Vee just had this like control, and I couldn't really get a voice in anymore. And so maybe that was just me being like, I want to talk, or, like some kind of attention bleep. But, I think it was just, I think I was getting into my head a little bit more about it than I probably should have.
There's also more people now because of the swap, when it was just you, Lo, Emily, and Luke, and one person's being pulled for confessionals, like it's a more intimate like talk versus like 5 or 6 of you in the room, and it's like where do you go, where can you connect from there? So I feel like you're kind of right in justifying like it was harder to connect with your newer people. Luckily, I mean, you did have that one round where you were safe that the other tribe did not have, so that was nice, and it pretty much I feel like it did help a lot, but the forced to go to tribal and Lydia just being like, fuck it.
Yeah.
And be like, Jonathan said my name too. All right, let's go.
I know. Oh my God. When she totally told me, I'm going to be honest with you, I hear you calling my name. I had to like think critically. I'm like, how am I going to like admit this, but like make it look nice?
I think you handled it great.
I think you handled it as well as you could in that situation. But again, that was a round that like everyone was confronting everybody. Like, so I heard you said my name. And everyone had different reactions. You were pretty straight up about it.
Question I have is, how did she know that somebody was saying her name?
She didn't.
So that was just her tactic, and then she just went off of people. Oh,
she went off her gut.
I like her even more.
I mean, she might have heard maybe rumors about it in a breakout room. Who knows?
Like she did hear. She heard from Lo that Lex was saying her name. So the only times we hear is her in a brief moment with Lo, and then her confronting Lex, where Lex goes, "Oh, I never said such a thing." And then Lydia just like immediately like goes, "Okay, I didn't believe it, but like I just want to let you know that was out there."
Yeah.
I
Right.
also think paranoia is like real. And so if there's 3 people on the chopping block, you're one of them, and the other person's like, I have an idol, like, good luck, guys. Then you're like, I have a 50-50 shot of going home right now,
Yeah.
Let's make it a 0%.
It was like 33.33333 for that moment.
You were definitely the least likely of anybody to go home, but you got Lydia. It's just like
I got Lydia super hard, and my medals.
The medals, yeah.
Medals. For anyone watching, just don't have medals behind you. Let me just kind of start questioning you, even if you're in like the high majority.
Well, my final question before we go to Facebook, or if Alex or McKenna have any, is if you could play an org or a real survivor with anybody from this cast, who would you pick and why?
Oh my gosh. How many do I get to pick?
just
one, but I can stretch it to 2.
She'll give you a little alliance.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Let me think. And it's crazy because I never got to know the rest of the cast, so I have yet to get to know them. But man, okay. This is a hard question. Let me think about this.
It's not set in stone. If you do play again, you don't have to play with this.
We are actually casting for a duo season, so whatever you say.
Right. So if I would go with Lex, he has such a I think he is genuinely loyal if you do get on his side, from what it looks like so far. I'm just going based off of what I know about him today. Man, I want to choose more.
I feel like Lex is such an interesting pair to you because you're like a yin and yang, where he's very here and there, and you're just yes.
Yeah, Lex is one. I don't want to make a biased choice off of Luke and Lo because I spent majority of the game. That would be the obvious choice. So I'm trying to think. I would obviously pick them
too. Lex would be fun for you.
Lex, and then also too on the other tribe, if I was just a viewer that didn't play, I would want to vote for Jon. I think Jon just has this underdog. I don't know. He just has that discreet play. I think he doesn't really seem like a target. And that's kind of the game that I wanted a little bit of stealth in the game. And I think that some people kind of are making mental notes about him. But at the same time, I'm also learning from him. He's clocking people on their social conversations with people, things that I never thought about. I never matured enough to play the game into. And I feel like I would have wanted to ally with him if I made it to the merge.
Awesome.
Nice. Well, move over Johnson and Johnson. It's Jon and Jonathan time.
I like those picks because I think if you had gotten together in the early game and played WoW, I think you would have had a lot of fun with them, which is as a viewer is what you want to see in people. You know what I mean? I think they would have not helped you. I think bouncing off each other would have been interesting and also a lot of fun.
Yep. No, absolutely. Man, I want to pick all of you guys, but I got two.
We forced his hand. We forced his hand.
We did.
Yes, you forced my hand. Now I'm eliminated again.
Well, speaking of the person who eliminated you, she has a question. Jonathan, how, if at all, did your experience with the behind the scenes aspect of orgs influence your first game playing one?
So before this one, with my husband, okay, so so I watched Survivor since I've been watching for 7 years. That's when I actually started getting into it. And then I, eventually got my husband into it. And then just watching him, he's been more of the orchestrating all 3 seasons. I was more behind the scenes. I was just that supportive, spouse that was trying to create themes and give him ideas. And after that, his recent season, I gave a little bit more contributions to a discrete player in the game, if that makes sense, just to kind of help with the host moderate better. And I don't know, it just kind of certified the camaraderie that you make with people, online. You really do make really good friendships, and that, so it channeled my inner extrovert. And so, I love people instantly the moment I meet them. And so I had always wanted to play one. I just never really made a drive to go out of my way to apply. But then, when, I got the invitation, I was like, why not? Just do it.
Well, we're happy we were your first.
Yes, me too. You guys put it up so well. I enjoyed it so much. I highly recommend anyone to play. And it was able to get me a little bit out of my comfort zone as well. Yeah, what I could say is watching the players from my husband's games, I saw them go through the stress. I saw them go through, I've seen some cry. I've seen some get mad. I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly. But you really don't know. I feel to host, what I've learned, if you're going to host, I feel you should at least play at least once, because you never know. You don't know what you're going through until you play. And so you kind of get both ends of the spectrum, hosting and playing. And you're on an adrenaline rush the whole day. And then even after you're eliminated, you're still like, like for a few more hours.
Yeah. Sure. So your next question is from Austin. Jonathan, I'm sad we didn't get the chance to properly meet in the game, but what would you say your biggest weakness was in your gameplay, if any, and what would you try to do differently if you were to play again? Also, based on what you saw of the other tribes prior to the swap, do you think you would have fared better starting on a different tribe, or were you happy with the one you began the game on? So let's start with your biggest weakness, if any, and what would you try to do differently?
I want to say fear. And I don't know if that's like a typical question anyone would answer, but you know, like I did fear dropping a name constantly throughout the game. And even when you even try to have us pick someone to come to our tribe to be safe, you know, I could have, you know, I was even afraid to say a name then. Like any opportunity where you could just take the spotlight, I just didn't like. I should have at least practiced it at least once, because I feel like you never know how you can finesse something unless you try it. Because if you say it and then people look at you and you get out, then cool, you lesson learned. Next org, maybe try to do it subtly. Like try to find that right frequency, and you have to make moves. So if anything, just get over the fear a little bit and play.
And then, so after watching these episodes so far, who do you feel like you were set on Iguazu, or would you like to join a different tribe, Kirka or Tugaluf, or do you think you would have fared a little better on either?
I think I would have fared equally. I think I would have flourished at least the first elimination each one.
Okay, great. So next question is from Luke. Jonathan, what was your plan at merge?
So back at like trying to make the relationships with the people between our tribe and the second tribe that we ended up re-swapping at, was just trying to create those relationships. So then again, I would kind of have those options. That was it, but it was a very short, I didn't realize how short term that was. That wasn't really a necessarily good long-term goal. So I think I don't think that was the best strategy. I think that you needed more gameplay, because if you know how to finesse, kind of like how Emily, you know, is able to kind of play, you know, throwing names out there, it kind of gets you. If you could do, it seems like if you do it well, people want to crutch on you for that extra vote.
Yeah,
a lot, you know, because for her to be like by herself right now, like away from us, wherever her and I were in the totem pole with Lo and Luke, she's like literally just keeping people distracted and wanting to rely on her vote. So like, I think that like, if that makes sense. So I think that I just need to find that right frequency between,
social
not necessarily
strategy.
Right.
Awesome. He also has a follow-up question of, if he had pushed Lex a little bit more in that vote, would you have changed your mind or still pushed Lydia?
Yes, because because I was worried about him too, because of him being that swing vote. And also too, I remember a little remark where we had just gotten to a tribe together, and he was just like, I forgot what he said, but it's like he wanted to know the 411 and gossip, and it was how he like expressed it. He was like, oh, you guys are in an alliance? Like he kind of had that quick witty, like, oh, like what's going on over here? And so like, I, you know, kept that to myself, but I was just, man, I should have, then I need to do better at these confessionals, because I'm saying it all here now, like, you know, and like, I, you know, I like that about him, but for my gameplay, I don't like that about him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was, they were all equal choices, but you know, for my gameplay, I should have Lex, it should have, going back, yeah, once he said Lex, I should have been like, you know what, let's just do it. It is what it is. Yeah.
Next question we have is from Carrie and McKenna Inglis. they want to know if your military background influenced how you approach the game.
Yes, because I think I used to be a little bit more shy, like in like live settings where something, I do a job where I also work in the medical field in the military. And it helps me engage a variety of military men and women from various ranks. It doesn't matter if you are like at the bottom of the rank or you are running the whole, branch.
Yep.
So, it taught me how to be more punctual, more like my communications. And then also in patient care, learning how to like deliver, practice your skills a little bit and do it with a certain way where they feel like those people are comfortable with you and they have your trust, if that makes sense. So yeah. I didn't ever have that before. I had a lot of inconfidence in my younger years, so I think that absolutely, like when I joined the military, it really honed me to like be more confident and learn how to communicate 1,000 times better.
Awesome. Last question, just from Carrie. What's your favorite cocktail or virgin if you don't drink?
I've been digging espresso martinis lately. Like those are so freaking good. That's all I want is an espresso martini on a Sunday fun day.
Oh, you and me both.
Come over.
And then McKenna Inglis says, who would you want to play in a movie adaptation of your life?
Or who would play you?
Yeah. Yeah, who would play you in a movie adaptation of your life?
Like anybody?
Yeah. Well, I assume an actor, but
yeah.
Oh my God, that's a crazy question. This is going to be such a far off the wall answer, but I'm going to go with, does anyone know Tosh.0, Daniel Tosh?
Yeah.
I go with him. He's goofy, he's weird. I was told I look like him my whole life, and like the things he does, I will like watch him over and over and over again, and like his sense of humor gets me every time. So yeah.
Love it.
I love it.
Well,
that's a unique answer for sure.
Yes,
yeah.
Love that. Well, that's all our Facebook questions.
Yes, so I do have one question to close it out. If you could sum up your game in one word, what would it be and why?
Growth. Because
I like it.
It's such a good exercise just to like put yourself in a situation with a bunch of strangers, and you don't know each other, and I feel like it's a good maybe like an icebreaker, like like I think there's a couple teachers in this that have done this with their students. Absolutely, it teaches you how to be more woke in the world, with people, because there is a little bit of lying, there's a little bit of truth, there's a little bit of engaging with, you have to engage with people just to kind of figure out like how you're fitting in. And I've learned too, like this game has taken people from their dark days and have flourished in life playing these games for a reason. It's you're exercising your social cues, and that's growth to me.
That's awesome. I love it.
Well, what a beautiful way to put a cap on this exit interview. I love a good happy ending to an exit. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for hopping on today to be our current exit interview. We will have an exit shortly after this one with our next person voted out. But as always, keep following along. We have our episodes dropping every Monday and Thursdays with exits shortly after, and our recaps on Sunday nights with John David Millsip, who always has surprise guests along the way and giving his MVPs out for who played the best each week. Reminder to press that like on the video, press the subscribe button, and click that bell for all notifications so you know when our new content is dropped. And while you're at it, join all of our social media. Join our Instagram, join our Facebook page. That's where you can post your questions for the exit interviews and also knowing when new information drops, as well as just some silly stuff like our secret scenes that we've been starting to post as well. So if you want all that information, follow our socials that you'll find at the end of this video. But as always, this has been Dynamic Character Productions, and we will see you all next time.